Ask Alec.
Hey guys, it's Alex Torelli, and welcome to this very special episode that I'm sharing with you from one of the most beautiful places I've been in my entire life. I really don't say that lightly. I've been lucky to travel to over 40 countries, but honestly, the Anantara in Macau, Thailand is fucking incredible. Highly recommend you guys check this out. Add it to your bucket list, please. You won't be disappointed, I promise. More importantly, today is my 30th birthday, and I have a special video I'd like to share with you guys about the 5 things I learned in my 20s and some of the biggest mistakes I made. First off, the last 14 years been playing poker. It's been a wild ride, and what I realized is one of the things I was most attracted to when I first started out playing when I was 16 was that poker was really against the grain. It was unconventional, and more importantly, it allowed me to live an unconventional life and structure my days, structure my time, basically do what I want on a daily basis, and there really isn't a price on that. And poker gave me all of that. If I could only be successful at this game, and later in my life, my 20s as an entrepreneur and starting an online business, etc., then I could have those fundamental elements that were so important. And being in a place like this really made, it was really a huge bucket list item for me to be able to do something so incredible like this for my 30th birthday, my beautiful wife. Like, I'm just so blessed to be here. I wanted to share more of the lessons I've learned and the things that I think are important and essential to creating an awesome life that I wanted to share with you guys and hopefully help people on their journey as well. But without further ado, here are the 5 things that I wish I knew in my 20s. All right, number 1 is to say no more often. But I want to have a quick moment to say a caveat is you need to say yes to new experiences and new things and new ideas. But being spontaneous is different than saying no to things that you really don't care about. And I said yes to a lot of things that weren't part of who I am, my personality, just because I thought they were cool and that they would help me fit in. So one big example is like going to nightclubs. I don't really like doing that often. It's fun every once in a while. That was part of who I was for several years because I thought that this was something that was cool to do. And it didn't, saying yes to everything means that you have to say no to a few key things in your highest productivity items or your core competencies or things you value the most in life. And if you spread yourself too thin, you end up being mediocre or bad at a lot of things instead of really good at few things or doing things that really bring you the most joy and meaning. That means, unfortunately, you gotta say no. Number 2 is to be myself more. I heard a great quote from Paul Orfilia, who founded Kinko's. He says, in your 20s, you care a lot about what people think. In your 40s, you care a little bit less about what people think. In your 60s, you realize they weren't thinking about you in the first place. That's a really great quote. It hit home for me. And it just goes to show that, people do so much to impress other people. And I was definitely a big part of this. I was doing things that maybe weren't necessarily part of who I am, who I was, but just doing them because I thought other people would think that was cool, or I wanted to live up to some status quo or fit into a certain group of people or have a certain image that I wanted to take around with me or whatever. Being yourself is definitely the biggest filter. If I think about all the mistakes I made, it was time that I was trying to, I put on a front for who I was, and then I was surrounding myself with a group of people that I didn't really care about. So being yourself naturally gravitates the right people into your life and gravitates you towards the people that you actually want to spend time with. So I wish I was myself more, something that's hard to do, something I'm still working on. I think we're all working on every day, so to speak, to some experience, but I've gotten a lot better than that. I'm really proud of where I've come, but this was a huge lesson that I learned in my 20s. Number 3 is to value my time more. I didn't do this exercise until I was 28, and I don't really know how I came about it, but one day I decided, you know what, I'm going to set an hourly price on every hour of my time. So let's say I value my time at $10 an hour. Okay, anything less than that, I am going to delegate, or I'm not going to take any opportunities that can make me less than that because my time is worth more. And even if this, as an entrepreneur, even if this means your recreational time or your sleep or your free time or time with your family or wife, whatever, that is time that you have to spend as well. So it sort of made me focus on the way I value my time a lot more and delegate more tasks and not do things that I really didn't enjoy or that were my highest productivity items. That was huge for me. And I also read a book called 168 Hours, which forced me to do an exercise, which was tabulate how I spent all of my time for a week. This was a huge exercise. I mean, people do this all the time with budgets, like Mint.com or whatever, they track where they spend their money in order to optimize this resource of money. But money is a replenishable resource. There's a close to infinite amount of resources of this nature in the world, but time is extremely finite, and humans can never get more of it. So I think we should value our time more than any other resource. But if you look at the way people spend it, it's so often wasted or spent on things that aren't productive or that aren't important to the individual themselves. So I wish I had more respect and reverence, to be honest, for my time and the way I spent it, and that I tracked it more readily and I had more accountability in this area. This was a huge lesson, but doing this has brought a lot more happiness, fulfillment, and a lot less busyness. I would always say, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. And one of the things I learned working with one of my coaches was to change the way I spoke about the way I did something. So using the word "I have to do something" sort of keeps you trapped in this idea that you don't have time for something because you're forced to do this other thing. But when you take control of the way that you spend your time, that's extremely liberating. So this was huge for me as well. Number 4 is to save more money. And I made some videos about this before. If you guys do one thing, learn what compound interest is. It takes 10 minutes, but if you want a quick example, if you think about what the butterfly effect is, basically that a butterfly could flap its wings here in Thailand, and then over there in California, there'll be a tornado, or it'll affect the wind patterns. And it just goes to show that one small thing can have a massive impact over time, or if done repetitively, etc. And this is sort of the way that investing works. And I was very fortunate to make a lot of money in my 20s. When I was, I think, 19, I made my first $1 million. And so I was really in a great financial spot at a very young age, but I wish I had more discipline and bankroll management, so to speak, life management, and I wish I saved more money, was more responsible with the way I spent my money as well. I also wish that instead of spending my money on things, like the first thing I did was, okay, I'm going to go out and buy an M6 BMW, I wish I spent them more on things like this, which cost a lot less, but bring me a lot more happiness, and spent them on experiences rather than things. So that was a big one, learning about my relationship with money, not just saving it, but also the way that I spend it as well. It's been a huge learning experience for me. The last one, number 5, is to take more responsibility. And I mean this in every aspect of my life. So it just owning up to the fact completely that wherever you are in your life, wherever I am in my life, whether it's good or bad, whether it's a win or a loss or something positive or negative, is the result of the choices I've made. And that at any moment, I can change the way I'm acting, the way I'm thinking, or what I'm doing, where I'm spending my energy, and I could change my life situation. So that revelation, or that owning up to that 100%, was super empowering, because no longer did I say, oh, well, this is the result of being dealt a bad hand, but rather, this is the result of how I played the hand. And so focusing not on the hand you're dealt, but how you're playing the hand is super empowering, because it means you could change anything you don't like, and you could navigate your ship to wherever you want to go. So I wish I took more responsibility at a younger age and started navigating better and started owning up to not just the mistakes I made, but also things that I was proud of and the accomplishments I made as well, because that's sort of the mindset of taking full responsibility for everything in your life. So these are the 5 things I learned in my 20s that I wish I had, that I wish I knew from a younger age, but it took me a while to learn them. So I hope you enjoyed this. Definitely leave me a comment with your favorite one. I'd love to know what you guys think. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and share it as well. I'd greatly appreciate that. But I guess closing up, I really have no regrets. I think my 20s were awesome, and as much as I am looking back and reflecting, I am more looking forward, going forward to my 30s and how I could create an even better life going forward. So I'd love to share more of that stuff with you guys here. Leave me your thoughts in a comment below. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time here from Phuket in Thailand. Thanks for watching.